Yeah. So I think we just have to acknowledge that when Agno, before we were Agno, when we first got the mandate and um, the Ministry of Agriculture asked Erica to do a bit of work on this topic, and they didn't really know what we should do with it. Um, it was really project, like adapt some resources to align with agriculture and get them to the people that are delivering them. That's kind of what they said. We don't know what to do with this. And we did the needs assessment to find and try and figure out what are the topics, who is delivering to farmers, and what are they looking for? Like, where are the problems really, and how can we address them? And over time, as we just got into that needs assessment and started looking, well, maybe we can do something really quick and just solve this one little problem, it just ballooned. And so we've gotten into a position where this is bigger than just Erica's little project on farm mental health. I've been pulled into more conversations outside of that project. And I do it because I live rural and I have lived experience with trying to access mental health support, not only for my own family, but for my neighbors and friends. And so I get it and I want to see it improve. And if I can just, spend a little bit of time with this one organization or on this one policy and we can just push and make something a little bit better, I'm more than willing to do that. But the outpouring from the community itself, from the farmers that we've been engaged with, from the rural municipalities, the health foundations, like all these people that just keep coming, like I cannot keep up with the emails that come in. I miss things all the time. Like it's just, I can't keep up with the outpouring of desire to help and be a part of something and move things. We've had some pretty amazing volunteer things that have allowed us to accomplish all of the different things that we've accomplished. And Doreen knows firsthand about some of them. And there's been just like a huge outpouring of people that have been impacted and they want to see real change that's actually going to be long term. And this time, let's do something for real, not just a 6 months in and 6 months out, but an actual in place. We connected to the Rural Mental Health Network, which is a CMHA Alberta initiative, and they found the same thing. Like rural communities are tired of this parachute in and then take them out. Let's build capacity locally and actually make a difference. And what we're finding is that these issues and these needs in our agriculture industry, it just keeps evolving. I mean, you think pre-COVID with all of the our crops staying in the field, and then we had the canola prices plummet because an executive of a cell phone company got extradited out of Canada, right? And it's just been one thing after another, and it just keeps evolving. Now we're into tariffs. Like it just keeps evolving. So it's not going to go away. So this is a long-term um, prospect. If we actually want to make and build capacity for people to be able to endure these evolving needs, then we need to have a long-term vision. Like how do we integrate this into the fabric of how we do rural so that we are supporting these multi-generational businesses in our rural communities so that we have that longevity and that thriving economy. So that is bigger, as a project, and that is something that needs to be decided. And we have a number of rural municipalities that are like, no, this needs to go bigger. And so that's where we're at. We're still a project. We haven't operationalized to be something bigger. We are exploring some of those options. We are finding a charitable backbone. We're talking about endowment funds and building in some of that industry investment that can make it more stabilized and long term. We're looking for board members right now. I'm just going through the terms of reference to create a board that would be really about steering Agno through this. If we choose to move forward as Agno as being a part of this ecosystem, what does that look like? And we need a group that'll steer us through that so that we can operationalize. So that's kind of where we are. So these macro recommendations are not about Agno operationalizing. These are what we have determined and thought of and thought through within the community and context of our stakeholders as things that would be necessary or could be done in order to have that long-term impact. These are kinds of the things that we think need to happen in agriculture to build that capacity. So the systemic support and strengthening community-based mental health resilience, that's the operationalizing piece. Like, how do we build in some of that stability that's coming from industry and from the people? If, you know, you need that industry investment in order to keep it focused on the client and not focused on keeping this organization going, because that's not what we want. We want something that's going to have impact, and we want to focus on the end user, and we want to make sure that we're making that impact at the farm gate. Expanding farm-informed counseling network, we've talked about that pretty extensive, so I don't think I need to talk about that anymore, but we need to be across the province. In my opinion, that's the best way we can serve farmers and build that capacity. Strengthening the crisis support program specifically for agriculture, that is talking about that depopulation response. How can we be prepared for the diseases that are coming? There is an expectation that post-COVID, because of the COVID virus, that we're going to have waves of diseases on the human side and the animal side for a while. And we have this idea, or in our SCAP, and the momentum is on that one health system, recognizing that animals impact people and people impact animals, and that one health system. So let's strengthen that crisis response and support for people when they're going through that, but not just on the livestock diseases, but like wildfires, like floods, like these things that are happening. How can we be responsive to farmers and build that resiliency and capacity? The strengthening the suicide prevention, I think it's just mobilizing what we already got, because we got really good programs and services in here. So let's engage at the community level, at that tenderness. Like, we have to meet them where they're at in that tenderness, and then pull the topic out of the closet. We need to put it on the coffee shop table, and everybody has to sit there in their discomfort, and then we have to, as a community, decide what we're going to do to reverse the trend, because it's not going to be reversed without that. And that is really in community trust building kind of work that has to be done. And that's not something that putting out an advertisement for a program on suicide prevention is going to get you. It is engagement at the community level. And it's not just like, it's not AGNO necessarily. This is the Rural Mental Health Network. This is the FCSSs. This is the people that are already in the community and working in a collaborative sense to support communities to do these kinds of things. And then that multi-generational farm transfer. Like, I just cannot say enough how important having farms and businesses that have that multi-generational outview and that long vision are so important. Let's think about this, right? We have 4-H, that's building future leaders, and how established that organization is in our rural communities. Let's think about our ag societies, right? Like, these are institutions that we support. And why? Because of the long-term vision. And so we need those people with that long-term vision. They're a part of our communities and having vibrant rural communities. And our farms are a source of those long-term vision kind of people. And whether you are turning that farm over to someone in your family, or you're turning it over to some other farmer that's going to take it on, that farm is staying, and it has place and it has value. And the people that are working there have place and value, and they will invest in their local communities at a higher level than somebody that's just there and it's like, you know what, this isn't serving me, and leaves, right? So we need those people with place on our rural landscape in order to have those vibrant rural communities. So how can we actually support that? Because we talk about it a lot, but our policies and stuff in the government don't necessarily support that small, mid-size, and I'm like talking small, I'm talking, 5,000 acres small. like that's like small farms are big farms in my head, but like those are the people that have that long-term vision. They have those kids involved, they have people in the community involved. They're sending the kids to the school, they're sending nurses to the hospitals. Like, they're the people that are pulling this or helping to pull this together. They're not the only, but they are an important piece of the puzzle, and something that we need to recognize.